Welcome to The Social Autist. This is, the topic is raising children with autism. I have autism and I have two sons, ages 13 and 7, and the 13-year-old has autism and the 7-year-old doesn't. So I've seen both sides of the neurosphere, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is really good because I can give you, I can compare and contrast one with the other and let you know kind of what to expect with each type of child. So we start with the autistic one, and he was kind of, nothing worked that should work. So they say, oh, read to your kid. I'm like, okay, I'm reading to my kid. Didn't work. Didn't help him learn to read. So yeah, it was kind of like I had to go on my own and figure out parenting without any of the advice that works on neurotypical children. So one of the things that he was really into heavily was these little paper craft things. You just print out the paper and he cuts it up and glues it together. And he that was kind of like his special interest, and he would do, like, for the longest time it was tanks, and then it was airplanes, and now I think he's more into different things. But the point is, you kind of just have to follow their special interests and keep feeding that, and then as they develop more, you start inserting the social crap. And so right off the bat, he had echolalia when he went to enroll for kindergarten, and they're like, oh, he's got echolalia, we're gonna put him in special education and get him a speech pathologist and work with him on that. And that was great. He loved school, he was doing fine, he was improving, but then once he had language, they booted him out into the regular program, and it was and he was delayed, and so he got horribly bullied by the other kids. So we had to pull him out, and I actually went to his school and did an observation, and he would just kind of sit there kind of confused about what was going on, and didn't really understand the lessons and things, and they just kind of ignored him, and like, just put him over here and ignore him. So I kind of got towards the end of the year, and they're like, oh, we want your son to repeat kindergarten or something, or first grade, repeat first grade. I told him, okay, well, I'm just gonna take him home and teach him there, as I'm a teacher. I have so I started doing that, and then he was kind of not learning much, even at home, other than what his special interests were. So I just kind of ran with it, and then he was like, okay, we started getting him into therapy for the bullying. He's been going there for years, and then he got really confident and over it, and was able to bring out his real personality. And then I went and started teaching him all the stuff I put in my book here, this social skills that I found out that are needed, and how to relate to neurotypicals and everything. And that was highly successful, and he went back into regular school in 5th grade, and he had a great time. He made friends, and he struggled. He had to go to a therapist every week and discuss these issues that come up when you're in a this school social environment like that. And there's the pandemic and everything, so he's being stuck at home a lot too. But yeah, now he's in 6th grade now, and he's decided that it's not worth it. It's just a waste of his time. And if you understand the female-centric learning and anti-male sentiment, and how they're teaching him to be a girl, teaching him how to be a girl, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start asking him to pee sitting down, and they're like, oh, you got to talk about your feelings and write an essay about your feelings, and and that's great for women and girls, but for boys, they want to be out and horsing around and playing and competitive sports and everything, and of course the sports are shut down. PE is all about feeling good, and so yeah, we're gonna pull him out. We're just gonna get him started on a GED, and he'll probably be done by the time he's 15, or something, and he can work on college or whatever. And he's made enough friends now that he can just call his friends and hang out with them on the weekend and get some social time. But yeah, and then let's compare that to my neurotypical son. Okay, with my neurotypical son, all that stuff that they told me worked. Like, oh, read to your kid, he loves it, and he's picking up language fast. He never had any delays or special education or anything like that. He's got tons of friends, but he has to have social interaction or he dies inside, and that's where kind of like my wife is neurotypical. She takes care of that. I just tell him like, oh, you're needing attention and social interaction, go talk to mom, and then mom will go over and then read with him and do some things with him and talk to him, and then he's happy again. But yeah, during the pandemic, when we were on lockdown and everything and he couldn't go to school, he was crying every day just from the social isolation. But yeah, he what he makes up for in being socially adept, he adds the difficulty of needing social attention all the time. So that's kind of the difference between the two, is there's like, and it's very different raising them. And he just, I don't have to teach him anything social. He just picks it up automatically. And the best thing for him is to get him around other kids, right? So that he can socialize and advance. But yeah, keeping my autistic son home to do a GED now that he's old enough to be conscientious of his studies, yeah, I think he'll do fine, and then he'll move on with his life. He'll plow way ahead of these other kids, and he'll have the social skills, and he'll move on in life. I mean, he's already started his own ventures with live streaming his games he plays and trying to come up with ideas for YouTube videos. And this week is his last week, and so he decided to prank the school. He's calling it Shit Week. He's got his liquid ass, barf fume, the little pooter thing that makes fart sounds. And he's gonna, and he's got Nutella, so he can leave some little presents in the bathroom. But just because he's so mad at them for all their pandemic silliness and incompetence in education and administration, and how they constantly harass these kids to stay socially distant and and he's fully vaccinated, so he's like, okay, and then you got to wear a mask all day. It's just not working out. But yeah, that's pretty much like the way it goes, and I deal with my autistic son, and we click, and I can know what he wants. I can know what he's thinking because I think that way, and my wife sometimes goes nuts because and they argue, man. It's funny because he's got that, like, that logical autistic brain saying that, well, this isn't right, because and that sense of justice. He's like, this isn't right, and she's like, well, you blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, but it's still not right. And she's like, damn it, you blah blah, and she'll get angry and frustrated, and I have to step in and say, okay, hold on here, let's okay, you're right, that's not right. Okay, now let's deal with these other things. And you know, I can always get him to do what I need him to do, or tell us what we need him to tell us, or whatever. And she has the hardest time with it. But she has such an easy time with the other one, that, you know, doing the social thing. So yeah, you get a balance. I would think that, like, that's the ideal way to do a marriage, is to have an autistic person and a neurotypical person, so that either way the kids you got them covered. But they're a joy. I love them. Kids are great. I think everyone should have kids. They're give me purpose in life. They're my legacy. And I'm sending them out into the world as, you know, good men that won't be soy boys. They won't be on welfare. They won't be, you know, coming back home in their 30s, you know, as failures, because they're not going to go take liberal arts degrees that are worthless, and they're not going to fall for all the BS in society that they would get programmed into their heads through the education system. And yeah, you know, like my 7-year-old, he already knows what a Karen is, you know. So you're pretty ready to take on the world, and that's what gives you pride as a father, you know, as a parent, to see that your kids are going to do okay. They're going to succeed in life, and they're going to have, you know, the best of both worlds. Everything that I never had growing up. I never had anybody take me to therapy or teach me social skills. I had the old-fashioned way, which is like, oh, what do they call that? What are they? It's some technique, AAS or something, like some behavioral thing, and they basically smack you when you don't do the right social thing. And maybe they don't smack you nowadays, but when I was a kid, you got smacked. But yeah, they get to go out in the world with all that knowledge and skill and upbringing to have a functional life, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got to say on that.